Rakin. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, right? Oh, you guys don't sound at all. Let us do that again. You're all ready to sit down and go at this? You're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed? Yes. Right on. Very good. It's good to be here, and thank you for the invitation to come and address you for a few moments. And to, I don't know if you noticed, but I had to stop a conversation, very good conversation, because I saw a former colleague that I hadn't seen in a long time. And wave your hand. I'm going to embarrass you. Nina Hafner was a student at Humboldt State when I first met her. And she never let anybody put tread marks on her. And that was the kind of woman we wanted to work for the tribe. And she came to work for the Wiyot tribe and stayed until family duties called, and she left our employment. But it's so good to see her because she continues to be that woman that does not allow tread marks upon her body, because she is going to be there steadfast for the community, whether it's Native American community or non-Native American community. This is the kind of woman, and it sounds the kind of people that you have in your group here, and it's really good. My grandmother taught me that I need to welcome people to my home, to my homeland. And what was really great is that grandmother was raising her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren, and I went away, and when I came home, I decided that I need to sit and listen to her. So when I returned home, I was 21, and for 3 years, I sat with my elder and talked with her and asked her questions. And she says, "Aren't you ever going to get tired of asking me questions?" "No, Grandma." And she was my source of inspiration, my source of who I am. And then when I was finished with Grandma, I'd go and sit with my mom and say, "Mom, what does this at? Mama, what's going on? Let me know." So one of the things my grandmother told me is that you never allow anyone to knock upon your door. You always go out and meet them. I always thought that was pretty nosy because I did that without even knowing that was what we were supposed to do as a people. And somebody's coming. Run down the road and go look, see who it is. And the other thing she would say is that you welcome them to your home before they even know that they were coming. And so I want to welcome you to my home, to my country. And I welcome you from the east, which is Dak Dene, Dak Kut, Dak Shurer, Dak Vurer. I welcome you from the four directions. I welcome you to this land I have called home all of my life, except for those 3 short years I lived in San Francisco, in the middle of that Haight-Ashbury flower child movement. But I did not partake. I was raised as traditionally as a person could be raised when families were being stripped apart. Children were being sent off to Sherman Institute. It wasn't Sherman School, it was Sherman Institute, Stewart School, hundreds and hundreds of miles away. And where my mother wanted to go to school, she never went past the 8th grade because she was the eldest of 6 children, and she helped raise her siblings. My father, who never went beyond the 6th grade, because at the ripe age of 12, he had to go to work because his father was injured in the woods. And so he had to go to work at 12 to bring food and wood and anything else that you can think of a 12-year-old would do. He was the breadwinner for his mother and father. It was always 2 things: go to school, learn what all you can, and always do good for everyone. And I've had siblings who've done all of that, though we never went to college, but we got school anyway. I worked at Humboldt State University for 28 years, and what an education I did receive. I worked for the Educational Opportunity Program that helps students get into the university who may never have gotten there without some kind of assistance. Low income, first generation college. And I was one of those kids. So I was blessed to be there on that campus to learn all the things I didn't learn because I didn't go to college. But the things that I learned was everyone has an opportunity to say what they feel. Everyone needs to be there and to listen. And that was one of the greatest lesson I ever learned was to listen. And I would have students come to my office and just sit. And I said, "Can I help you?" "No, I'm just here." "Is there anything I can do for you?" "No, I just here." "Okay, can I go back to work?" "Yeah." "Okay." I had no clue who this student was, but he came in and just sat in my office. And he didn't want me to listen to him. He just wanted to sit as I found out that I had a place that they felt comfortable in. And this was from Native American students, non-Native American students. I've had faculty and staff come in and sit in my office, sometimes to vent, sometimes just to ask me how I was doing. And it was really good. There's a lot of things that all this comes to, does this make any sense to you? Yeah, but it does. I want you to know where I'm from. My dad's family came from Wiyot, the river Wiyot. Today we call it Eel River, but then it was Wiyot. My mother came from Wigi. Wigi is Humboldt Bay. My mother's family came from Tuluat, which is Indian Island, the village on Indian Island. And all of this, I have lineage to the island itself in the middle of Humboldt Bay. And that island, we purchased 1.5 acres in 2000 for $106,000 for land that was contaminated, abused, ruined for any use at all. But the Wiyot people said, "That's our land. That is our sacred site. We must bring it home." 13 years later, 4 years later, in 2004, the city of Eureka deemed it necessary and a fit thing when we came to them and said, "We want all the acreage north of 255. And unanimously, they gave it to us. It's the first city, to our knowledge, in the United States of America to give back without, there were strings attached. Not a whole lot of strings attached, but they gave it on their own volition, and they gave it back to us. That was in 2004. August 28th, 2013, we have a clean bill of health on that 1.5 acres. And that's... And I want you to know, Nina was a part of that. She may not have gotten the last push, but she was on the ground floor of that. And you ever see that poster of Snoopy doing his happy dance? That was me. I have been there watching it for 13 years, and wow, we did it. We have a river that is dying. Right out here, that somebody saw a salmon just moments ago. It is dying. We have communities up and down this river just here. It's not including all the way down to the headwaters of the Eel River. We got Scotia, Riadale, we have the metropolitan area, we have Fortuna, we have Fernbridge, Ferndale, Lolita, all live off of that. And I can remember my grandfather talking about the salmon that he used to get out of that river. And you know the old adage, you could walk on the backs of the salmon to get to the other side. Today, we can walk across the river bar to get to the other side because it's so shallow. We have to think about what is happening out there. It is a vital link to us. They've got enough grapes down the Russian River area. We need to divert that water back to this, to bring these communities that are dying on, quote unquote, the vine because of the vineyards down there. Everyone deserves a way of life. And we need to remember that we also deserve a way of life here. And thinking about the Wiyot people who live on this river. The other thing is, we've got to do something with the illegalness of diverting our water, killing the creeks, putting all the ugly things, chemicals in there, because they want that little pretty bud that makes you feel happy. But in that making you feel happy, there's a downside to that. It's not just you that they're affecting. They're affecting our children. They're affecting our 7 generations out. We can't just think about us today. We got to think about us tomorrow. And that's not just 1 year down the road. We're talking 7 generations down the road. So it's upon your shoulders that these things are going to be done. And I know that the tribes are here and that they're willing to stand up, because you have to remember that is what we did before the Euro-Americans got here. Thousands of years. We are older than America. That's not my quote. I saw that somewhere and I thought, right on. I like that. So we have been doing this for thousands of years. And you guys are just catching up with us. And there's a lot of men and women here who got great ideas. Tap them, because they're here. I've taken up too much of your time. I'm sorry. Thank you very much.